All right, peace and blessings. So we're back, same trading session, 6:24 a.m. May 20th. Um, and I wanted to point something out here. In the first video that I posted, I showed you guys um, that I had a buy order in, right? And the profit target wasn't too far from here. Uh, and I expressed the fact that it just seemed like the market flow changes when I put an order in. Well, put the buy order in, wasn't quite doing what we expected. Originally, we were looking to get out right around here, set a profit target right around here, and just wasn't happening. We were getting right here, and then price would fail. Finally, price fell below the 9 EMA, gave me a good 5 closes below the 9 EMA, right? And so at this point, we're saying chances are no good, right? Like, obviously, this is not going in the direction in which we had planned, right? So we close a trade out, and I showed you guys that in the previous video. And then it seems like no sooner than we close the trade out, we get this move here, which would have eventually, guess what, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, folks, yeah, we would have hit our profit target, right? So it really amazes me to see how this happens again and again and again and again on this platform. Do not have that problem on my Thinkorswim platform. And let me see here if I can actually give you guys. Look at that. Look at that. You can see where I set the price alarm, right? Because I knew that this is where price was going. Right? I'm expecting this. So you cannot tell me that the skills are off. There's something else happening in the background. I'm just saying. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point something comes out about all of this. I'm pretty sure I can't be the only trader experiencing this. And look at this. Now price does exactly what I expected to do. Right? Exactly what I expected it to do. So at this point, I'm not going to belabor the issue. But it does pose a question as to whether or not we want to continue with this platform. Right? That is a serious question at this point. That is a serious question. For all intents and purposes, you would think a break can close above this zone. We'll draw it out in a rectangle so you guys can see exactly what we're talking about. What am I looking for here? Oh, here we go. All right. So from here, now you can actually drag this down. But I would say, right, so you're looking at a zone from here down to about here. You can even go as far as here if you like. But just to make it fair, I would say right about there, right? It's a complete buy zone, right? You would think that this is what you want. I'm going to actually delete this. That's not what I'm looking for. All right, you guys to bear with me here. So kind of draw a window about what I'm talking about here. Bam! All right. So this is a zone of what you would call support and resistance. All right. So what do we mean by that? So we see that when price reaches down into here, if it descends down into this area, there's usually a response, right? Price gets right about here, shoots up higher, gets back down in there again. What does it do? Shoots up higher, right? Comes back down into the zone, fire, all the way down here, boom, shoots higher, right? So we have three clear examples, one, two, and three, right, of the price doing this. Then we get a fourth example, fire, right? But we notice that price doesn't go quite as high. Then when it gets in here again, it vacillates, it drops down, right? So all the time that it was bouncing up, this is what we call support, right? The minute it falls below, now it bounces back up into the same area, but goes down. Back up into the same area, going down, right? So now that same zone has become something of resistance. And what we look for is a break and a close above that zone to indicate that we're going higher, or a return to, I would say, even the mid area of this zone. If you look, the 20 or the 9 period EMA and the 50 period EMA are about to intersect. They're about to come together. Because the 9 is sloping upward towards the 50 is starting to curl upward. Again, these are indicators, right? Indicators. They follow the price. But this is an indication that price may be about to move higher. In addition to that, we have strong bullish candles, right? See the three strong bullish candles? We have a doji here, right? But then it went higher and it got right into our zone, right? You can see just before the peak of the zone, we start getting some selling action. So this is a zone of support and resistance. And I point these things out to you guys to show you that we are not unfamiliar with levels, right? We're not unfamiliar with price action. We are not unfamiliar with using indicators. All of these tools put together should result in a reasonably profitable strategy, right? I'm not saying a perfect strategy. I'm not saying 100% win rate. I'm not claiming any of that. I'm claiming that you should be, right? With this knowledge and information, you should be succeeding more than you're failing. And unfortunately, with this particular platform, I don't find that to be the case. So, that said, we're going to continue to monitor this situation. Um, we are looking at this midpoint of the 20 and the 50, right? I would almost expect price to return to this point before moving higher, right? I expect price to get right up there to the top of our zone, so to speak, or into that price area. And mind you, these zones are not exact, right? It doesn't say exactly this price point or exactly that price point. We are just saying this is a general area, right? This is a general area where price seems to have a response, a pivot point, if you will. So with the 20 having crossed over the 50, or rather the 9 EMA having crossed over the 50, you see we have a close above our zone, right? Keep in mind we are on a 5-minute chart, so we've got one close above our zone, we've got another. This would have literally, like, this was my dollar profit. This was my dollar profit. So these are the things that I'm really, really paying attention to with this platform, right? There is no way in the world that this shouldn't have panned out. Even though you see there's clearly a downtrend, we took the buy in a zone that should have resulted in a successful profit taking, right? Price is way beyond where we got it. So again, I just have to say, not really encouraged by, what we saw there. The 200 is always a great place to take a look at. Uh, Price reversal. Now, normally what you would do instead of just placing that limit order, you would wait for price to do what it does, so to speak. Um, I expect this thing to hit the 200, retrace a little bit, possibly to our zone area. Um, it may keep going higher, as high as this area up here. Uh, the uh, the 5 may be excessive in terms of what we can actually do with this account, the 0.05. But at this point, I'm just experimenting. Again, $100 test account. I don't really use what you would call uh, simulated accounts or simulated trading. So it did attempt to get me in, but the 5 was excessive, so the order was rejected. Pretty sure you'll see that in the mailbox, right? Start having this thing here. Freaking what's the game time? So I'll take this down 2 ticks. Now, think about taking this cell over here. Quite honestly, what is the logic for our trade idea? 1, 2, 3, 4. expect price to try to get back up to this area. Right in here to right in here. And see, say from right in here, right, some possibilities, right? Price can even go higher. Level here, levels here. So on my order having failed miserably, we're looking for another zone, right? Right in here. Right. This is the road. Zone is too big. Do anything to accurate. Flat. All the prices being built. So right about there, right? This 200 period moving average again. Big psychological reaction point. Um, I don't know how. That's that. So let's say the price gets up in the zone. So I want to close this 5-minute candle. See myself available. We're right at. And we're close. So 200 close right there. What's all the shit? 643. And again, we should. Price hits the 200. That'll close above it. But when you need it, get it down. You understand? So now if we had taken a sale right at the 200, right, you wouldn't be in profit, right? You see the 20 curling up, trying to reach the 200. You see price having separated from the 9. Keep saying the 20, it's the 9. Um, our account history here. Client funding stopped out for 11-cent profit, closed out 4-cent loss, stopped out 83-cent profit, closed out 25-cent loss, closed out 49-cent loss, cancel order filled, 17, took profit at 17, closed out 78-cent loss, closed out 75-cent loss, closed out 36-cent loss, closed out 90-cent loss, 18-cent loss, canceled, down $2.64 from the time you reopened this account or deposited this $100. So yeah, we got some work to do here. Now, looking price going up into our zone. That price getting to about here. Possibly at some sales. Right? First order of business to see just how far it's going to get. Now, let me try to prove a point. Jump in a trade. I'm expecting the price to continue up into that zone. Follow the zone. Right? But reached 116.2, 116.04. Not a stretch, right? You see, we want to resist that's right at the point of this zone we've drawn. And this is not without its pinpointing, its levels. Right? No market memory. Price likes levels. On that note, leave this here for decide what we want to do, how we do it. This close is 1604. This close 1604, almost 1605. Okay. Let's see whether or not this thing. Keep in mind, New York opens in 2 hours, actually in 1 hour, in an hour and 10 minutes. But the wick on that last 5 minute candle, pretty telling. Reached for 1602, didn't quite get there. Now we got a big red candle reaching down towards 1597. You can expect that's, you know, where price wants to meet 20. So I would say going from one zone to another. A sell here is not simple, right? Price not moving enough. Make reference to the one chart. Well below that point. Jump out to our 15-minute chart. Go ahead and sell 3. Look at the spike up. A minute I sell 3. Minute I sell 3. From the point I sold. Very interesting. 3 big red hits, right? We reached a resistance zone. You can call this a zone of resistance, or you can call this a zone of sell zone, right? You see that. But the minute to this order, second instant I entered this order, we start seeing price going in the opposite direction it was already. Right? Now this should be classic sell situation. I don't know. But I'm looking at stuff that just, it's not really, and mind you, again, I'm just practicing. I'm not doing everything specifically, hey, we're going to nail it to the ticket. Because normally, I would go ahead, set a limit order, set a take profits, set a stop loss. But what we're trying to do is really ascertain right now whether or not there's some serious, like, fudging going on, right? Because this just isn't jiving. It's just too coincidental. Now, if I remove this order now, take the 63-cent loss, does this price fall? Right? Does this price suddenly drop out the bottom and hit the 50 where I put my take profit? Sometimes it's hard to ask these questions to really see them answered because you really don't want to know the answer. Or you really just does not want to know the answer. Really looking suspect. Now, one of the things that you could do, particularly in a situation where you have 3 of these, And this is what we're going to end up doing to kind of outsmart what we see transpiring. Um, Instead of purchasing an order for 3 lots, for all 3 of these lots at once, 3 micro lots to be precise, as you guys can see, we're already $1 down. This is the type of stuff we're talking about. But when we see this kind of stuff, then what we can do is take 1 micro lot. If price moves against us, wait till price has done what it's doing, and then put in the order for the other 1 or 2 micro lots once price is moving in the direction that we expected. Because we've seen that. Ultimately, price does exactly what we expected it to do. It just seems to have an aversion to doing it when we're in a position for it to do it. Which again, makes me wonder about my market maker. This drawdown, a $1 drawdown is really kind of ridiculous. Like right now, my profit target is not in line with my loss, right? Normally, when you set these orders, you don't want your stop loss to be more than 50% of the amount of your take profit. So if I'm planning on making $1, I don't want to lose more than 50 cents. But at the point that I opened the trade, I was damn near down 50 cents, right? And this is my problem with number one, market orders, and number two, the surrender platform. So what we're looking at is the possibility of a head and shoulders setting up. And this head and shoulders, right? We missed the dip off the first one, but we should be in order for this next one. Right? So yeah, if we had put the one in where we started, the 1 micro lot, then saw this thing turn against us, it could very well still go higher into that zone, go directly into that zone. There's no guarantee that it's not. But then on the way out, you could certainly go ahead and double the size of your, instead of doing 1 micro lot, now we do two. Now we do 2 micro lots. And what that's going to do is give us twice the amount of money down as we lost on the way out. For this kind of getting familiar with Euro USD, and re-familiarizing myself with Forex and this Orlando platform, I think that's going to be the approach that we take. I do have to say that I'm not really I'm not really of the frame of mind that this thing can't be figured out. Sometimes you just have to understand what you're working with. Uh, in the previous video, we pointed out the fact that the 116 level, again, psychological level, right? And you can see we're actually getting a market response to this level, right? At the 116.01. You're seeing this sort of price struggle. Now with the price moving in the direction that we originally expected, and we finally broken through that mid-level, right? So here we can see we have a failed head and shoulders pattern. Look at this. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, right? And if you actually go look at the actual numbers on this, you'll see our high here was 116.01. Our high here was 116.01. So you got your head and shoulders there, right? That is typically a pattern where you are expecting price to move lower. So we've got our price moving lower. You can see we still have not turned a profit, right? Because when we entered, this price was so skewed, it wasn't even funny, right? They entered us already at a 50-cent loss. So now the price is moving in our direction. The profit is so minimal. It's so ridiculous. You say, well, I was literally looking at getting out at around the 50, right? But now I really can't do that because I've only made a 12-cent profit, right? 6-cent profit. Our profit target puts us at what? Was it 80 something cents here? 81 cents, 27 pips. Right, just 27 pips, not a lot of money in the market. If I wanted to be absolutely, if I want to try to really maximize this, I would probably place this target down here, right? Or right in the zone, or right at the point where price enters the zone. But they got me nervous, I'll be honest. I don't want to take the chance. Right now, I will take my 80%, my 80-cent profit and run, right? If in fact we can get there. Because for some reason, so long as this thing is in place, as long as that tip profit is in place, price will stop dead short of there. Despite the fact that there is clearly bearish momentum off the head and shoulders pattern. You've got your 3 red soldiers. You should be running to the south, right? You should be running to your bottom. But for some reason, get below the 50, you can't go further. What is this? Right? Now, where we're at, take profit is 15,966, price is at 15,967, and it is frozen. It's frozen. 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 All that momentum and price is frozen, right? In a perfect world, that close below the 50, right? Says, come on now, how is it still experiencing this problem? Now you can argue price is right at my TP, 15966, but my trade is not closed out. Of course not, right? Why does my red line say 82 cents? But here we're seeing 36 cents profit, despite the fact that price is actually now lower, right, than my TP, right? So here it is. Prices touched my top, my take profit. And I tell you, this is a problem I have with this platform regularly. I've even got a close below my take profit. I'm trying to tell you now. Right? So our low was 15964. Our close was 15964. Take profit was at 15966. I haven't been taking out of my trade. Haven't been taking out of my trade. This thing is in junk. And me, I prefer to set it and forget it. I don't want to have to sit and actively manage a trade. Right? 15963 still not have closed me out at a profit. And I expect this price literally to go down to the zone that marked off. But it probably won't happen. You're looking at both the 20 and the 50 starting to curl down, or the 9 EMA and the 50 starting to curl down. So if the 9 EMA crosses over the 50, we're really like, but for some reason, I put this take profit in. You guys can clearly see this is my take profit, right? Profit 81 cents, 27 pips. Put in down here 15966. Price is at 15962, 1595. Right? I haven't been closed out at a profit yet. Have not been closed out at a profit yet. Now we see price moving against us. Now you tell me what I'm supposed to do here. Because clearly I was in profit. 3 successive closes below my profit target. And not on there one of them did I get closed out. What does it take to make a profit on this platform? Really, what is it going to take to see a profitable trade on this platform? How many times does my profit target have to get hit 15966 before my trade gets closed the fuck out. How many bars have to go by? Yeah, so I'm kind of officially through with this platform. I just don't like the way it moves. I don't like the way, yeah, things don't happen that should happen. It's just literally ridiculous. Literally, there's no way in the world like anything else should be happening except I should be showing a take profit. No way in the world you're gonna tell me that three, 4 bars close. My take profit is nowhere in the mix. My trade just doesn't get closed out. I gotta sit and watch this thing go against me, despite the fact that I was in profit for at least 5 minutes. How often do I have to go through this? How many closes below my take profit do I have to? So either this is not accurate, right? That 27 pips does not equal 81 cents in profit, or this is not accurate, right? Taking profit at 15.96 does not equal 80 something cents in profit. Which is it? Because I'm loving those. Man, oh, 15.95. Close 15.958. What does it fucking take to get this closed, man? So now I feel like I should just drop into the 200. And I'll be honest, impatience has led me to do this at times. You say, well, fuck it, I'm not getting closed out at night at the profit target. I might as well go further. I mean, you just go where I really want my price to go. Does that make any sense at all? Of course not. There's no way you're going to tell me that I should not have been closed on. It's like as long as this order is in place, it will not close out at a price. Will not. It will not literally close me out for a profit. No matter the hell the price goes to, for some reason, like I've got to go miles beyond my price, my price target. my profit target in order for it to close me out. Shit is just not cool. Okay, what you say, it's just not cool. Riding on this head and shoulders. Right, this clip from where we got in to where price went. Shit, instead of watching it slowly show. So let's talk about what exactly is happening, right? The 50 and the 20 and the 9 converging again. And it appears that the 9 EMA is crossing above the 50 EMA and prices sort of bouncing off those EMAs, looking to trend a bit higher. Wow. Because this was a head and shoulders pattern, because I was looking for continuation to the downside, I'm in the frame of mind that this is really something pullback, although it seems to be drifting a little bit higher than I would like. Um, these are the things that make you put a trailing stop in place, right? Uh, Trailing stops, I really don't care for because it seems like you invariably get stopped out before your profit target, or your trailing stop never moves into a potentially profitable position. But the problems that I'm currently having, just getting filled on this, just getting this to sort of respond to take profit orders, like, I'm not really hell bent on having it do less. Right? We go with these big red candles again. Here we go. 15.96 prices of 15.97, 59.66 is my profit target. Prices at 59.80. How can my profit target be at 59.6 and price be at 59.80? This shit is not accurate compared to that. There's a serious differentiation between these two. How does that say 59.87 and that says 59.72? So this is a problem, folks. And this is a direct reason why I'm not getting closed out like I'm supposed to. So now we've got this double bottom here that's going to send price higher, possibly back to my zone. But again, my low 15.95. I can't do this, man. This is so much bullshit. This has been so much bullshit. Ay, ay, ay. Reasonable, bro. I'm not getting taken out. No reason. Reason, man. You see that? You see this red line moving? What the fuck is my take profit? Mine's is saying 59.65 and this is saying 59. What is the fucking price? Ain't that shit. This is some bullshit. Clearly, there's a clear disparity between what price is saying here and what the price is on the chart. That is a 15-point difference. 15 points. Why should that disparity be so wide? Explain that to me. There's no reason in the world that disparity should be so wide. When price is showing 59.60, there it's showing 59.75. Yeah, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Prices clearly that might take profit several times. You guys can see it's gotten rather quiet here, simply because price has gone completely against me, right? So I'm actually more at a loss than my potential take profit. This is pretty nerve-wracking, especially after having seen how how much I was in profit. Like, just did not get closed out. Why is price showing me 1602 in the order window? Put on the chart, show me 1600. The disparity is fucking up my trading. It's fucking up my profit. Right? This is not what I signed on for. This is not what I signed on for. Wanda has some serious issues, some serious questions to answer. The chart says 16010. The order window says 16027. Not much saying I'm not happy. It's really blows, you know. So I don't think anything that is happening with the price right now is a surprise or a mystery to the trader in front of the screen. The only freaking mystery on this screen is why isn't the platform executing orders in accordance with what's been requested? Why is there a 15-point disparity between what is shown in the order window and what is taking place on the chart? Got some questions. Definitely need some answers. But folks, understand this is why I started with $100, right? I mean, I could have put as much as 10,000 in this motherfucker if I wanted to, right? Um, but this is the whole point. I need to see the details of exactly how this thing is operating. So I can afford to lose $1 here, $2 there. That's not terribly troubling. I know that with my risk management skills, if I lose a whole $2 here, That's 2% of my account. So I'm really not worried about that part of it. I have set this thing up in such a fashion that I can definitely control losses. Um, a parabolic shift notwithstanding, or parabolic, I should say, type moves notwithstanding, there is no reason for me to assume that and here we're dealing with almost a triple top. Right? Not even a triple top. Let's talk about a double top. Okay, so we have a high here of 1602, a close of 16017. Yeah, we reached a high of 16017. So this is technically considered a double top right here, right? And what we want to see is if price falls below this level, which would sort of be the neckline of our double top. Now, we also have price reaching up into the zone, right? If I would have some more, let's see what happens. Thanks. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Let me see what's going on. I find this to be total bullshit. shit here. Uh, Wonderful. All right. So one of the things that we are looking at in terms of an answer as to the disparity is, of course, the fucking spread, right? So now, when we look up here, we see that the ask and the bid are exactly about 16 points apart, right? See the 3 and the 8, 5 points, 1 and the 2, 1 big point, right? So we say 1.5. Seems that is the difference between the price that we see here in the order window and the price that you see on the chart. So the chart appears to be showing us the ask and the order window is showing us the bid. Because we have a sell order in, price has to be at the bid in order for us to get closed out. This is just me guessing now. Just me guessing. So we're going to actually run a couple of trades to explore these possible theories, right? Because this is going to be very significant going forward as to whether or not we can actually profitably trade on this platform. That does not explain to me why when I place an order, things seem to get stuck at the point of my order. However, we are going to continue to work with this scenario. We are in our sell zone. So although we did not place a trade in the sell zone, we do expect price to drop. We placed a trade actually, we were looking at the sell zone. For some reason, it got placed below the sell zone. Anyway, these little inaccuracies of things that I'm trying to resolve are really, really widespread, if you ask me. Right? 15 points is a bit much. It's a bit much. So, I'm going to be taking a hard look again at continuing on this platform. So, why freaking spread? Right? Let's see, price constantly trying to find, gets up over 50. Haven't seen it top to 200 in this zone yet. So 20 did cross over the 200. You might expect price to go a little bit higher here. All in all, we're still only down to 50 between the two trades. Just not really. Performing as expected. That's always very curious when you're pretty much following rules of technical analysis. And if I'm following my rules of technical analysis, I should be seeing results accordingly, like I've seen on other platforms. And it's just really not it. So, as we go, see that the spread remains about 15 points regardless. So it's not like on options where that spread seems to change, right? Um, if the spread is 20 points on an option, as price changes and fluctuates, you may see that spread drop to 10 points or even 5 points, even lower. Some contracts have a spread of 1 point, right? Um, this does not seem to follow that rule or follow that particular order. At this point, what we seem to be looking at, it looks like you got something of a head and shoulders happening at this level. Um, but really, what we seem to be dealing with at this point is something a little bit different, where that spread seems locked in at that 15 point. So, anytime we're trading on this particular platform, at least this particular pair, we're in the Euro USD. We want to be conscious of the fact that this thing tends to have that 15-point spread, and that in itself is a means for just paying attention to where you expect to get out, how much profit you expect to take. Again, we were in that sell zone. See that there are two zones which price has been responsive to. We've almost got a triple top, right, in that sell zone, if you really look at it. Uh, let's shrink this just a wee bit so we can get a better look at it. So, since you've fallen down into this zone, fell down in here, you got your one, didn't really do nothing, hit the bottom of the zone, right? Drop down out bottom here, shot back up. These are necessarily the things that you're looking at to say, hey, well, there's a chance that price could do one thing or the other. All right, so you're looking at the zone you've marked off here, and we're looking at most recent price action. Gave us one, two, three. And if you look at it, each of these highs are successively lower. Right? So we're just concentrating on making sure we get now, I'll be honest, man. So every time prices come down to now, it's touched that sell zone. Which might mean to say the range is getting tighter. Right? Definitely didn't get down there toward the last time. But you're just paying attention to the market and what it does. Just at a profit here. So that's showing 15.99, 15.97. Yes. All right. Thank you. Which one of you motherfuckers done did it now? God damn it. shit, did that. Hush. 3 big red price does not hit a price target. Been at it 5 hours and ain't hit a profit yet. Never took this long for me to make a fucking profit trading options. If I get this, oh yo, this is a lot of bullshit. How is that only nonsense in play? Because the buy is what? 116. Shut Okay, so having discovered exactly why we're not getting closed out where we want to get closed out, the question is, what do we do about that, right? How do we adjust our levels to make sure we're getting closed out where we want to get closed out, and that the market is going, price is going to actually touch those levels, right? So the 15-point spread is a problem, right? Because the market will say the price is supposed to move between this and that, but the 15-point spread says that, well, the market actually needs to move further than those 2 points in order for you to get a profit. Hmm. So you would literally set your take profit 15 points short of where you expect the market to go in order for you to get closed out. That's going to bite into your profit. It's definitely going to bite into the profit. Not a big fan of that idea at all. So while we currently kind of wait for the market to do what it does, and it probably wouldn't have been a bad idea to get out right out here on the low of this candle or the close of this candle at 115.96. 15.96. Just, but in order for us to get closed out at 15.96, we have to place our target at 15.81, and that's where we're running into a problem, right? 15.81, way down. Embellishing a bit there. But yeah, this to me this is unbelievable. This is just preposterous. Showing no rhyme. Nothing that makes sense. Hey Google, what time does the greenery spot open? So suffice it to say that we need some pretty big moves in order to make a reasonably decent profit under these conditions. That 15-point spread is just a lot to surmount and still make a reasonably decent profit that makes it worth like you sitting down, setting up your trade, taking the time to get involved in this. Uh, I can't say that, again, I'm really shook by the drawdown or nothing like that. You know what I mean? It's not that at all. I do not like the fact that that spread is 15 freaking points wide, and there's really nothing about that. Like trying to get closed out where you expect to get closed out is really uh, so you're gonna be closing your trade out for a lot less than expect. A lot less than expect. This is the reason why you're in one trade at 60.16. Show like a 5 cent profit at 59.90. But this joint here says 16.02. This says that you operating at a loss, but price says that you should be in profit.